with more than 35 singles on the Billboard country music charts. He is wearing tonight for you his best black tee, and as a former goth kid, I heartily approve. Please welcome Lee Greenwood.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. I hope the day will be a lighter highway for friends I found on every road. Can you ever think of any better way for the lost and weary traveler to go? Making friends, oh, for the world to see. Let the people know, oh, you got what you need. You know I got it. 'Cause with a friend at hand, oh, you will see the light. If your friends are there, then everything's alright. It seems to me a crime that we should age. These fragile times should never slip us by. The time we never can or shall erase. As friends together, watch our childhood fly. Making friends, oh, for the world to see. Let the people know, oh, you got what you need. You know I got it. 'Cause with a friend at hand, oh, you will see the light. If your friends are there, then everything's alright. If your friends are there, everything's alright. It's a little bit funny, this feeling inside. I'm not one of those who can easily hide. Don't have much money, but boy, if I did, I'd buy a big house where we all could live. If I were a sculptor, then again, no, a man who makes potions in the travel and show. I know it's not much, it's the best I can do. This gift is my song, people, this one's for you. And you can tell everybody this is your song. It may be quite simple, but now that it's done, I hope you don't mind, I hope you don't mind. I put down in words how wonderful life is when you're in the world. I sat on the roof and kicked off a moss. A few of these verses, well, they got me quite cross. But the sun's been quite kind while I wrote this song. It's for people like you, yeah, who keep me turned on. So excuse me for getting these things I do. You see, I've forgotten if they're red or they're blue. Anyway, the thing is what I really mean. Yours are the sweetest eyes I've ever seen. And you can tell everybody this is your song. It may be quite simple, oh, but now that it's done, I hope you don't mind, put down in words how wonderful life is when you're in the Thank you very much. How about a little country music, y'all? All right. I would pick and we would sing to the rhythm of that front porch swing. The moonlight was a spotlight that we shared. I found new notes on a soul guitar. She believed I could be a star. Told me that she wanted to be fair. She said, well, love will only hold you down, for you're glory bound. We can't share a world of different dreams. So I chased mine and she found hers too. Someone else made hers come true. Now I'm a star, but every time I sing, my heart goes drifting down a dusty Dixie road, taking my mind back in time. LA lights burn like hell. I want you to know you left heaven waiting down a Dixie road. Every night I'm in a different place, and I search in every stranger's face, trying to find a girl who's just not there. She's back there in Montgomery, and I'm clear across the country. But whenever I'm alone, I go back there. Come on, y'all. My heart goes drifting down the dusty Dixie road, taking my mind back in time. LA lights burn like hell. I want you to know you left heaven waiting down a Dixie road. My heart goes drifting down a dusty Dixie road. Oh, taking my mind back in time. LA lights burn like hell. I want you to know you left heaven waiting down a Dixie road. My heart goes drifting down a dusty Dixie road, taking my mind back in time. LA lights burn like hell. I want you to know you left heaven waiting down a Dixie road. Well, you left heaven waiting down a Dixie road. Thank you very much. Thank you. My career in Nashville spanned over 35 years. One of the songs that did so very well there, written by Carrie Chater and Austin Roberts, won us a Grammy. We were playing the Houston Rodeo, however, that day. We didn't know we won it till about a week later. The important love song. If you're going to get married soon, this would be the one to play. You believe that I've changed your life forever, and you're never gonna find another somebody like me. And you wish you had more than just a lifetime to give back all I've given you, and that's what you believe. But I owe you the sunlight in the morning and the nights of honest loving the time can't take away. I owe you more than life, now more than ever. I know that it's the sweetest debt I'll ever have to pay. I'm amazed when you say it's me you live for. You know when I'm holding you, you're right where you belong. And my love, I can't help but smile with wonder when you tell me all I've done for you, 'cause I've known all along. I owe you the sunlight in the morning and the nights of honest loving the time can't take away. I owe you more than life, now more than ever. I know that it's the sweetest debt I'll ever have to pay. Oh, I owe you the sunlight in the morning and the nights of honest loving, oh, time can't take away. Oh, I owe you more than life, now more than ever. I know that it's the sweetest debt I'll ever have to pay.
Thank you so very much. And I owe you, all of you who believe that conservativeness is the answer. It's interesting as we listen to music on the radio and we look at DVDs and television shows, what affects us. Over the 35-year career I've had, there's been an awful lot of music that we've dedicated to America. A lot of the songs we had on the American Patriotic album, of course. But across the touring schedule for the last 35 years, there's only been one song that stood head and shoulders above the rest. It's a favorite with all Americans, and you know what that is. So I'm going to play it for you right now. America's favorite song from yours truly, Lee Greenwood. McDonald's and you, McDonald's and you, fresh scrambled eggs, sausage, hotcakes, juice and coffee too, just like sunshine every morning. McDonald's and you. That was Ronald Reagan's favorite song, I promise.
Please come to Boston for the springtime. I'm staying here with some friends and they got lots of room. You could sell your paintings on the sidewalk, buy a cafe where I hope to be working soon. Please come to Boston, she said no. Will you come home to me? And she said, hey, rambling boy, why don't you settle down? Boston ain't your kind of town. There ain't no gold and there ain't nobody like me. I'm the #1 fan of the man from Tennessee. Please come to Denver for the snowfall. We're moving to the mountains so far we can't be found. Throw I love you echoes down the canyons and lie awake at night till they come back around. Please come to Denver, she said no. Will you come home to me? And she said, hey, rambling boy, why don't you settle down? Denver ain't your kind of town. There ain't no gold and there ain't nobody like me. I'm the #1 fan of the man from Tennessee. Now this drifter's world goes round and round, and I doubt if it's ever gonna stop. But of all the dreams I've lost and found, and all that I ain't got, I still need to cling to somebody I can sing to. Please come to LA to live forever. Been in California too long, it's too hard to leave. Live in a house that looks out over the ocean. There's some stars fell from the sky, living up on the hill. Oh, baby, please come to LA. She just said no. Will you come home to me? And she said, hey, rambling boy, why don't you settle down? LA ain't your kind of town. There ain't no gold and there ain't nobody like me. I'm the #1 fan of the man from Tennessee. Smoky Mountain rain keep falling, oh baby. I'm the #1 fan of the man from Tennessee. Whoa. Thank you. Anybody here from Tennessee? Love to see you. And welcome to DC everywhere, no matter where you're from. A very special city. A city we all belong in. By the way, if there's any question about who owns the White House, the people own the White House. Here's a special song. It must have been cold there in my shadow to never have sunlight on your face. You've been content to let me shine. You always walked a step behind. Whoa, I was the one with all the glory. Well, you were the one with all the strength. Only a face without a name. Oh, I never once heard you complain. Oh, did you ever know that you're my hero? Yeah, and everything I'd like to be. I can fly higher than an eagle. Oh, I know, I know. You are the wind beneath my wings. Hey now, might have appeared to go unnoticed. Hey, I've got it all here in my heart. I want you to know I know the truth. Oh baby, I would be nothing without you. Oh, if you ever know that you're my hero and everything I'd like to be, yeah. I can fly higher than an eagle. My, my. You are the wind beneath my wings. Oh, girl, you know, you are the wind beneath my wings.
Thank you very much. Bette Midler sang that at the Fireman's Memorial, 2001, right after the attack on America. I was there as well, sang with her at Yankee Stadium for the firemen, and then again at Carnegie Hall for the policemen. Of course, we began our USO tours immediately when I got to Nashville, Tennessee, almost 30 years ago. There have been 30 of those. And this next song is the one we opened up with recently in Afghanistan at Kandahar. It's from Aaron Tippin, my friend. It gets a little bit of patriotic spirit moving. That's what we need right here. A little patriotism. This is the Stars and Stripes and the Eagle Fly. Come on, y'all. Woo!
Well, if you ask me where I come from, here's what I tell everyone. I was born by God's due grace in this extraordinary place where the stars and stripes and the eagle fly. Hey, I know it's a big old land with countless dreams. Happiness ain't out of reach. Hard work pays off the way it should. I've seen enough to know you got it good. Where the stars and stripes and the eagle fly. Hey, there's a lady that stands in a harbor for what we believe. There's a bell that still echoes the price it costs to be free. You know, I pledge allegiance to the flag. If that bothers you, well, it's too bad, y'all. Because if you got pride and you're proud, you do. Hey, we need some more conservatives like me and you. Where the stars and stripes and the eagle fly. Yeah, yeah. Come on, y'all. Woo! Put on your fork just a moment. There's a lady that stands in a harbor for what we believe. There's a bell that still echoes the price it costs to be free. It ain't the only place on earth. It's the only place that I prefer. Oh, to love my wife and raise my kids the same way that my daddy did. Where the stars and stripes and the eagle fly. Where the stars and stripes and the eagle fly. The stars and stripes and the eagle fly. Here in America, home of the free, land of the brave, because of the brave.
I'm going to close my set by singing for you the song that I got a chance to sing for Ronald Reagan, for George W. Bush, George Herbert Walker Bush, for many of the people who stand for right, who stand for fairness, and stand for a conservative point of view. That's all of us here in this room.
If tomorrow all the things were gone I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again. Just my children and my wife. Thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. 30 years since I wrote this song. 30 years. From the lakes of Minnesota, where you at? To the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart. And it's time we stand and say, sing it, that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. Thank you so much.
I have to tell y'all a story. In my hometown of St. Louis, Missouri, we have our Veterans Day Parade every November. And we do it up style in St. Louis. We get we have a caravan, a fleet of trucks, and we roll through. We have a giant SUV. We have huge subwoofers on it. We have all kinds of speakers attached to it. And we blast Lee Greenwood's God Bless America on repeat as we roll through the city to celebrate Veterans Day. So if you can imagine this fleet of automobiles going through the city, and you hear Lee Greenwood's song blasting through, and you see all of these men and women in uniform, and it's always on a beautiful day, and it's always right by the arch, the gateway to the west. It is an absolutely amazing experience, and I love the fact that it's so loud, it makes the people, our brethren on the left, as I love to say, they don't really like it all that much, but we still do it year after year after year anyway, because we're honoring our troops. And they fought for their right to not like it all they want. So there you go. Lovely Greenwood. That was fabulous. All right, let's move it on. We still have a lot more fabulous program. I need right now all of those who are involved in the presentations to please come. Volunteers, all of the volunteers who are involved in the presentations, will you please come to the front of the stage? Just come this way right here in front of me. If you could make your way through, all of the volunteers involved in presentations, if you could now come and join, come to the front of the stage. In the meantime, as we're waiting for everyone to come up, I would like to present to you your next speaker, your very elegant Cuban host for CPAC 2013. He and I have become buddies sitting over here at the table. Please welcome the ACU chairman, Al Cardenas.
Okay. First of all, as chair of ACU, I have the distinct pleasure and honor to ask the audience to please remain quiet, because these are important parts of the program that I'd love for every one of you to share, to enjoy, and to let our guests enjoy your presence. And so before I get started, as a point of personal privilege, I want to tell you, Mama, I love that Lee Greenwood. And the thing I want to tell you about a true conservative friend, Lee Greenwood called, offered to come here, came here for free, flew in at his own expense, and did this for you, for every one of you. Lee Greenwood loves the America that we represent, and we love him, and I'm very thankful that he came to give tribute to all of us and to enjoy his music. Reminds all of us how much love we have for this great country of ours. Now, something that I do every year, we've always done every year, and that's go through a little exercise before I get right on the introduction of our guests of honor. I'd like to ask each of you who are here for the first time, if this is your first CPAC, if you'll please stand up. Well, thank you, and welcome to CPAC. We hope you make it a lifetime activity. Thank you. You may be seated. Now, I'd like to ask those of you who've been to CPAC 5 or more times, if you would please stand up. All of those of you who've been here 5 or more times, if you'll please stand up. Now, listen carefully. Those remain standing. Listen carefully. Remain standing if this is your 10th or more CPACs. Whoa. And one more request. Please remain standing if you've been to CPAC 20 or more times. All right, well, I'm not finished. If you've been to CPAC 30 or more times, stay standing. Whoa! Now, thank you. Now I've got even more surprises to that extent for you. You know, the very first CPAC was at the Mayflower Hotel in Washington, D.C., in 1974. We're celebrating today our 40th anniversary. About 125 people attended that first CPAC. And tonight, I'd like to honor some folks in the room who were at that first CPAC. That was 40 years ago. And please stand and remain standing as I call your name. Mr. Tom Winter. Mr. Alan Gottlieb. Mr. Morton Blackwell. Miss Michelle Easton. Mr. Don Devine. Mr. Jeff Bell. Mr. Jim Martin. Mr. Lou Euler. Mr. Mike Long. Mr. Jameson Campaign. Mr. Surfin Maltese. And of course he was with here earlier, The very first chairman of CPAC then was the unique Stan Evans. And there's also Mr. Frank Enton. Frank, if you're here. Now, two more people I'd like to mention. Ed, you might want to enjoy hearing this. The kids on the staff were Miss Becky Norton Dunlop and Mr. Ron Robinson. Now, each honoree is going to receive a certificate as we speak. And that certificate says, with great appreciation and awe, American Conservative Union and CPAC 2013 acknowledge and celebrate your foresight and fortitude in organizing the first conservative political action conference held at the Mayflower Hotel in 1974 in Washington, D.C. With grateful appreciation, yours truly, Millie Hollow, who incidentally has put all of these things together for us, and we're very appreciative, and Dave Keene, my friend and predecessor. Ladies and gentlemen, one more hand to all of these friends who were here when it all started. Now, if I can get my act together, I want to this time ask Miss Dana if she would join me back, just continue with the program, and I'll be right with you again shortly. Dana?
Yes, right here behind you.
Almost, you thought I almost missed you, right? Yeah.
All right, folks. He's so funny, I love him. Presenting the Courage Under Fire Award. Please welcome 60 Plus Association President and ACU board member, Amy Noon Frederick, who, by the way, looks way too young to be president of the 60 Plus Association. Just want to say that.
Thank you, Dana. Moments like these this evening are unusual, especially in this town. That is, times when secrets are really secrets. I have the honor of presenting an award to someone this evening who's here and has absolutely no idea he's about to get this award or be introduced. Nevertheless, he is one of the true founders of the modern conservative movement, and tonight I am happy to announce the latest recipient of the Charlton Heston Courage Under Fire Award. Tom Winter's 50-plus years in Washington are the very definition of courage. He came to Washington in 1961, the son of working-class parents from New Jersey with nothing more than 2 Harvard degrees in his pocket. And yet, despite these setbacks, Tom served many years as the longtime editor-in-chief of Human Events, reporting the stories the mainstream media worked overtime to hide. As a founder of the Conservative Victory Fund, he helped build and activate the grassroots campaign for Governor Ronald Reagan in 1976, putting the world on notice that our movement, you can come by me, Tom, putting the world on notice that our movement had found a leader in Reagan and setting the stage for a historic victory in 1980 and beyond. Whether tucked away at his favorite Starbucks or sitting behind an overflow desk, Tom has quietly been one of the rocks upon which our movement was built. Tom shuns the spotlight. If you don't believe me, just try Googling his name. But he's always had the courage to shine the spotlight on those who harm America through corruption and empty ideology. Now, Tom is far from perfect. He'll be the first to tell you how embarrassing it is to have President Reagan call you, think it's a prank, and address the sitting president as Willie. But he's long been forgiven for that. The Courage Under Fire Award is not an annual award, but only given when there's a need to recognize someone extraordinary who gives extraordinary contributions to our movement, a person like Tom Winter. I want to thank, and we want to thank the NRA for providing this award, a second model Dragoon, which was a primary sidearm in the Civil War, and recognize and appreciate the courage under fire its CEO, Wayne LaPierre, has displayed during his tenure at the NRA, but particularly in the last 3 months. He is courage and grace under fire. And more importantly, we thank Tom Winter for all that he has done in dedicating his life to the defense of freedom and liberty. Please join me in welcoming Tom Winter.
Totally unexpected, total surprise, and therefore you won't have to listen to any speech at all, except thank you very much. It's very kind of all of you. I appreciate it. It's been a long time, and I've enjoyed all of it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And now for the presentation of the William A. Rusher Journalism Award. Please welcome to the podium the publisher of the National Review, Jack Fowler.
Thank you, everyone, and good evening. We conservatives stand on the shoulders of giants, of great men and women who have gone before us. As the publisher of National Review, 2 of my predecessors were among those giants. One was the magazine's original, albeit short-serving, publisher. He is more famous for being its editor. I speak, of course, of William F. Buckley, Jr. The other giant was NR's first real publisher, the man who served in that capacity for over 30 years. He is the late William Allen Rusher, better known to me, and probably to many of you, as Mr. Rusher, and rightly so. Perfectly groomed, his speech flawless and calculated, sharp, smart, demanding, meticulous, Rusher commanded respect, a figure of relative severity in the sea of characters and imps that populated the staff of National Review. But he was far from being a mere publisher, the corporate drone, fretting about subscription offers and printer bills. Because while he oversaw National Review as a business, Bill Rusher was also a central and terribly important figure in the operational side of conservatism. Along with Cliff White and a handful of other talented and determined souls, Rusher was a founder of the conservative political movement, the heart of the draft Goldwater operation that eventually led to the election of Ronald Reagan. He was also the founder of the Ashbrook Center, the American Conservative Union, and Young Americans for Freedom, and involved in significant ways in numerous organizations. In the Intercollegiate Studies Institute's excellent history, If Not Us Who, William Rusher, National Review, and the Conservative Movement, author David Frisk quotes M. Stanton Evans. Bill Rusher, said Evans, was present at every way station and integral to what was going on at every stage of the movement. He was probably the most underrated major conservative leader. That sounds like an apt description of Evans himself. While at Yale, the editor of its historic Daily News, Stan Evans, at 26, became the editor of the Indianapolis News, and shortly thereafter, a syndicated columnist. This consummate journalist has achieved many, many things these past 5 decades. Let me cite 3. It was Stan Evans who drafted the seminal and consequential Sharon Statement in 1960. He is an important historian. His histories of the Cold War and the communist threat are must-read. And then there is his monumental achievement, the founding and, for nearly 25 years, operating of the National Journalism Center, which developed hundreds upon hundreds of young conservative writers and reporters. The impact of the NJC, the impact of Stan Evans, is profound and, to my mind, too significant to truly calculate. As a young man on my first trip to Washington, I was guided to a Capitol Hill establishment, otherwise known as a bar, and at the front of which was this colorful man leading the assembled through an agenda of politics and policy. It was Stan Evans on full display, a man of humor, charm, skill, and great intelligence. It was an intoxicating event, as Joe Biden might say, literally. In clothing, in style, in demeanor, and in too many other ways, it would be fair, if not obvious, to say that no one but no one would confuse William Allen Rusher and Medford Stanton Evans. But I am certain that today the old publisher, up in the Afterlife's Princeton Club Lounge, is looking down at this affair and telling his friends there that there is no one more deserving of the honor of this inaugural William A. Rusher Journalism Award than a man who is himself not only a great journalist, but a man who has made many great journalists. It is my privilege to present this award tonight to a great man, and like Bill Rusher and Bill Buckley, a giant of conservatism. Unfortunately, Stan cannot be with us here tonight, but someone who is just as much a hero of conservatism will accept on Stan's behalf, the great editor of Human Events, Mr. Tom Winter. Thank you.
I just think it's an awful shame to be robbed of listening to Stan Evans' speech. Oh, well, let's hope he's fine. I hope he's all right. It makes me nervous that he hasn't shown up. So anyway, thank you. I will be happy to give this to him. Thank you.
All right, folks, here to present the John M. Ashbrook Award is the chairman of the John M. Ashbrook Center for Public Affairs at Ashland University, Marvin Krinsky.
It's hard to follow an act like that, but I have to tell you that Tom Winter is on the committee for this award, too, so he's doing a lot of yeoman service. Thank you, Dana. The Ashbrook Award is intended to recognize and honor individuals who exemplify the ideals upheld by the late John Ashbrook and his profound understanding of the nature of human beings. The award has been given since 1986, starting with President Ronald Reagan. Dave Keene became a conservative after his librarian, who knew he liked to read, gave him a book by Hayek, The Constitution of Liberty, which he still has, which the library was going to dispose of because they found it to be about a libertarian conservative philosophy, if you can believe that. Dave Keene is currently president of the NRA. He's the former chairman of the ACU and CPAC, and he's also of counsel to the Carmen Group, a lobbying and consulting group. He's been many things in the political world: political assistant to Vice President Agnew, executive assistant to Senator Jim Buckley. He also ran the southern states for Ronald Reagan in 1976 and went on to strategize for Reagan, George Herbert Walker Bush, Bob Dole, and Mitt Romney. He was also national chairman of the Young Americans for Freedom. Few have had as much impact on the conservative movement and been so successful at promoting Republican candidates at the national level as Dave has been. The son of pro-labor parents in Wisconsin, he's grown into an ultimate insider in D.C. To quote Dave, "I believe you keep your philosophical objectives in mind, and then you work with whomever you need to work with to achieve them. That's how I build coalitions and campaigns." To quote Al Cardenas, Dave has spent a lifetime defending America's freedoms, ensuring that future generations enjoy the same protections and rights we do today. Also, whenever critical meetings are held, Dave is among those present. He gives unfiltered comments, always well-reasoned and to the point. According to Cleta Mitchell, he's about the only one who knows a lot of the media and how to really communicate. Dave is fond of saying that he's the only perfect candidate who agrees with all his views. "They say I'm too soft and I don't get into everybody's face," said Dave, and I say, "Oh, really? I'll talk to anybody, but I will not surrender." General Keene, as I like to think of him, enjoys the fray, and he's sure in a big one as president of the NRA. "You get into a war like this," he said, "and the president has proposed many things. We'll lose a battle here or there, but we won't lose the war." We honor Dave because he clearly exemplifies the principles and integrity of John Ashbrook. It's my pleasure and honor to present the Ashbrook Award to the man the Milwaukee Sentinel recently described as, and I quote, "a gentleman who sticks to his guns." How true in so many ways. My pleasure to give the award to David Keene.
Born to labor union organizers in working-class Wisconsin, Dave Keene wasn't supposed to land in the conservative movement at all, let alone lead it. But in 1973, when a small group of activists filled a lonely Washington room, giving birth to CPAC, Dave Keene was a leader among them. Today, more than 12,000 people fill these halls, and for that phenomenal growth, in numbers but also in passion, Dave is surely responsible. During his decades-long political odyssey, he clerked mailrooms, passed out flyers, ran regional and national campaigns, advised presidents, and became one himself at the NRA. Along the way, he always had a hand for those who earned his respect, including giving me my first job at the White House as a White House intern before anybody had ever heard about that position. It's hard to believe, but at one point, CPAC struggled to attract young people, and Ronald Reagan advised, do not raise the registration price for students. Under Dave Keene's 27-year watch as the chairman of the ACU, registration was never raised, not 1 penny. For all of this town's slippery consciences and closed-door handshakes, Dave never put party before principle or opportunity over belief, often going against his own self-interest. Follow his lead and you may not win, but you know you can live with yourself. Today, Dave says his greatest honor is serving as the NRA's president, and all who value freedom should be grateful he's still out tirelessly fighting on our behalf.
We fought them off in the 90s, we'll fight them off now. We've lost battles before, we'll not lose this war. In the rest of the world, people can only dream of the freedoms that we've enjoyed And we, in this generation, will not allow those freedoms to be taken from us. Thank you very much.
Dave, for all the people you've enlightened, forgiven, advised, and fought for, thank you. Your life's work lives on through the young people in this crowd and all who believe that principles are worth standing up for. I'm sorry I can't be with you, but thank you and Godspeed.
I'm very rarely speechless, as those of you who come to various CPACs know, but I am almost speechless tonight. I thought back over the time that I've spent, and who would have believed that a young student from Wisconsin, whose first political activity was to pass out literature in the snow during the 1960 Democratic primary for John Kennedy, would by 1964 be dropping out of school to work in the campaign of Barry Goldwater. I think my story is the story of many who were involved in the early stages of the movement of which we're all today a part. I come from a Democratic background. My mother was president of the International Auxiliary of the United Auto Workers. My father spent a lifetime as a union organizer. I was the first of my family to go to college. And while a lot of people in this room may not remember John Ashbrook, I do. And those of you who do not remember him or do not know him do not know what you were missing. In fact, John Ashbrook, other than my own congressman, was the first congressman I ever met. He came to Fort Atkinson, Wisconsin, my hometown, back when I was just finishing Friedrich Hayek's book and rethinking my political leanings. I met him then, I got to know him later, loved him. He was chairman of the American Conservative Union, and some of you may remember that he challenged Richard Nixon in 1972 in New Hampshire. And I remember talking to John at that time, and I said, John, why are you doing this? You can't get more than 8 or 10% of the vote. Tom Winter will remember that conversation. And he looked at us and he said, I'm doing it because someday we're going to want to be able to say we weren't there. And sometimes you have to say that. We all live in two worlds. We live in a world that's ideological and based purely on principle. And in that world, we describe the vision that we want. We want to see Ronald Reagan's City on a Hill built. We have another leg in the world of political activism, and we work with politicians. And we know that they live in the world of the possible. And all of us, young and old, have one obligation, it seems to me, and that's to get up in the morning and see if we can't spend the day laying one brick in building that city. And the politicians we work with can't be required to change the world in a day, but they can be required, and they can be tasked with remembering why it is they're involved in what we're all involved in. When you come to Washington as a young person, you come to change the world. You find out after a while that the world is not as amenable to quick change as you might have thought it was. In my case, I decided that I would do what I could to change that world. I don't know that I succeeded in that regard, but I'll tell you, we've had a heck of a ride and we've made a difference. But more importantly, I decided that the most important thing we can do when our attempt to build that city on the hill is nearing its end is to make sure that we leave more folks behind to continue that job. That's why when I was at the White House, I got John Bolton in there. That's why we tried to create a conference that attracted young people. I was asked recently when I went to a conference of young activists why I was there, and I said, because you all remind me of me when I was younger and more reckless. That's important. We should all remember that. And I can only say one thing in conclusion. You know, I said it was a heck of a ride. It has been a heck of a ride. I got to know John Ashbrook. As a young liberal Democrat, I waited as a high school student every 2 weeks for the arrival of National Review. It's an honor to be up here when we're honoring Stan Evans, who was a seminal influence on an entire generation of young people just becoming involved in the conservative movement. This conference links what was with what is and what will be, and it's all important, very important. You know, I look back and I think of all the people that I knew. My political mentors were Frank Meyer of National Review. I used to have to travel up to Woodstock to sit with him and be yelled at while I was very tired. He used to sleep during the day and yell at people at night. And Walter Judd, a congressman from Minnesota, who was the mentor of many of us in those days. I have the honor this evening of sitting next to the ambassador of the Republic of China. And conservatives from the beginning have always recognized their friends and stood with them, domestically and internationally. We are part of a great movement. You are part of a great movement. So I accept this award, not for me, but for what all of those who were part of my generation did, and for all what those of you here tonight are going to do before it's time for you to get that award for having worked hard and taken a heck of a ride. Thank you very much.
I've just been told here before coming to the podium that Stan Evans he's all right, perfectly fine. He just wasn't aware he was getting an award this evening. Wouldn't we all love to have that problem? I just wasn't aware I was getting an award tonight. So that's very good news indeed. So thank you very much for that. I would also, you know, as someone who, this is I think my fifth CPAC, I want everyone in this room and everyone as well sitting at the head table to realize the impact that you all have had on the younger generation. I'm in my early 30s, and I had my midlife crisis. I was about 19 years old. You know, most people, they go out and get a young girlfriend or a fancy car, or they go shopping at the mall. I had my midlife crisis at 19, and I became a conservative. And I was the only one in my family who did so, and it was because of the groundwork laid by the people at these tables. And so one of the reasons I'm here tonight and that they've asked me to be your mistress of ceremonies this evening is, you know, because of what I do. But I came to this realization because of all of the work that they have done and the work that they have helped support and the work that they have helped promote. So it has such an impact. And I want you all to really understand that. And I see so many young people here at CPAC. I think more younger people here at CPAC this year than I've ever seen. It's having an impact. Liberty is selling. It's attractive, it's hot, it's a great brand, it's a lifestyle brand, and it's having an impact. So I really wanted to say that, and thank you all as well for laying the groundwork for that. At this time, I would love to welcome back the ACU chairman. Al, would you please come to the podium? We have a special guest for you tonight.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dana. Listen, as a point of personal privilege, when I became chair of ACU, I decided to exercise that privilege as chair, and we created the Bill Rusher Award. And let me tell you very quickly why it was special for me. Bill Rusher was one of a handful of people that, without really his knowledge at all, I was a young boy in Florida, influenced my life in a way that, thanks to him in so many ways, I decided to run for Congress in 1978 against Claude Pepper. Some of you may remember that name. And it was not what I call a good decision in the sense of a political victory, but it was a wonderful decision for me. My family had come from Cuba. I wanted to give back to America. And as a matter of fact, I'd become a citizen in '72 and had to wait 3 months to file because of 5-year citizenship requirement. But I did, and I gave it my best, and I clearly expressed the contrast between us, between a liberal and a conservative, and I thank God that I had the ability to do that. But I thank Bill Rusher for being such an influence in my life. And I guess a message for all of you here, especially if you're young, is latch on to people who you would consider your mentor, whether you know them or not, and follow what they have to say. And it'll be a tremendous guiding light in your lives, and it certainly was for me. You know, at this time, I'd like to guide your attention to a tribute video that I like, a short one, I'd like to share with all of you. So cue the video, if we would.
There is no better evidence that the time of the conservative idea has come than the growth of the Heritage Foundation.
Ladies and gentlemen, in 1973, in the aftermath of Watergate, and Ed Follner sat surrounded by probably 9 staffers, I think, looking forward from the ashes of the Republican Party and the doubts surrounding the conservative movement, and made the decision to endure. Endurance is a rare thing in politics, putting one foot in front of the other, not knowing how long the journey will be, but guided by a distant start of principle is oftentimes the hardest walk in politics, and one that few undertake. Ed Follner endured, and in that endurance, the Heritage Foundation grew and thrived. And by the time Ronald Reagan was elected president in 1980, it was the Heritage Foundation that stood ready to provide the policy templates that buttressed President Reagan's optimism and American conservatism. They were there when others were not. Ed says farewell to a robust Heritage Foundation with more than 270 staffers today and decades of public success. Ed's career has endured, but the ideas have been with Ed since then, will be with us forever. And so we thank you to a truly significant conservative leader. If you would stand up and join me in welcoming and thanking Ed Follner.
Oh, man. Al, my friend, thank you very, very much. It's great for me to be back at another CPAC. Not quite as many as Dave Keene or Jameson Campaign or some of the others, but almost as many. And it's great to see so many young people here because our favorite president always reminded us, trust the people. And we do trust the people. And all I can say is thank you, Al, for everything you're doing, for everything CPAC does in terms of taking the ideas that we have, using them with individuals, whether they're on Capitol Hill, whether they're grassroots leaders around the country coming together at events like this, and helping to build institutions. Ideas, individuals, institutions, the 3 I's. Thank you all very much for being here, and thank you for recognizing me tonight, Al. And I want those pictures back.
Thanks, Ed. And now, ladies and gentlemen, our featured keynote speaker tonight. Boy, I'm proud to be doing this. He's a living embodiment of the salutary effects of speaking the truth to power, especially if that truth is spoken in a strong but sometimes soft voice, rich in common sense but void of anger. Senator DeMint may have been predestined to one day become president of the Heritage Foundation's briefcase model of political policy, aggressively marketed to elected officials. After all, the senator received an MBA and began his career in marketing before beginning to exclusively market good conservative ideas. Elected to Congress in 1998 and then on to the U.S. Senate, Jim DeMint founded the Senate Conservatives Fund in order to populate the desks around him with more senators just like him. And this effort was, of course, received warmly by ACU, as was the news in January that a conservative of his convictions and real-world actions would now be taking over one of our allies' operations within the movement. I'm very proud of that moment. I'm very proud of honoring these two gentlemen this evening. And please give a warm CPAC welcome to the incoming president of the Heritage Foundation, Senator Jim DeMint.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Wow. Marco Rubio water. It's a new thing on the speakers circuit. I've even heard it could give me some charisma. I carry it with me everywhere. You know, what a country. The media tried to make this a career-ending mistake for Marco. He just laughed it off, put his name on thousands of bottles, and raised over $250,000 for his campaign. That's what I call sticking it to the man. It's great to be with you. An honor. Ed Fullner, Al, thank you so much. Thank all of you. You've been my courage for so many years. You may have heard, I think you just did, that I have recently received a big promotion. That's right. I was promoted from the U.S. Senate and the ranking member on the powerful Commerce Committee to the Heritage Foundation. Now, some people have asked, they've wondered, why I would leave the most debilitated body in the world to help lead the freedom movement in America. The answer is simple. The President and the Congress will not solve America's problems unless Americans make them solve the problems. Washington is the problem. We are the solution. And it's urgent that we work together to get our act together as a conservative movement and take action right now. Ed Fullner, the current president and co-founder of the Heritage Foundation, he and I and a team of heritage freedom fighters recently took a cross-country trip, visited 12 cities. Thousands of people came out to these rallies. We told them how we would be working with large coalitions of conservatives all over the country and state policy groups to build public support for conservative ideas. We told them how Heritage Action is going to work with these coalitions to build a grassroots support team to support congressmen and senators who stand for conservative principles. The people who came to our rallies were a little discouraged when they first showed up. But after they heard what we had to say, they left full of hope and ready to jump back into the fight. You know, all they want is a little leadership. They want champions who will stand up to the progressives, take on the liberal media, and push back against the Republican leadership when they get a little bit wobbly. Their message to us, if we will be their champions and lead with courage and bold ideas, they will join us. Speaking of champions, did any of you happen to see Rand Paul on C-SPAN last week? Well, Senator Paul, along with Mike Lee, Ted Cruz, Pat Toomey, Marco Rubio, and others, took a courageous and principled stand. Their courage inspired the nation. We heard it as we went all over the country. Americans are hungry for some genuine conviction and passion. And there are many new champions of freedom with conviction and passion in the House and the Senate. It's our job to make sure that their ideas are heard and that they're supported by the American people. Rand Paul's filibuster should remind us that one person with the courage of his convictions can inspire the American people, including young people, women, minorities. And it should remind us that a national conservative movement with leaders who have the courage to stand for bold, visionary ideas can change the course of our nation and save freedom for the next generation. You know, after the last election, a group of downcast conservative leaders here in Washington asked me to speak to them about the future of the conservative movement. They wanted to know what conservatives should do. You know, my answer was simple. Get up, spit out a few teeth, wipe the blood off your lip, and get back into the fight. That's what we got to do. Now, our situation is a lot like the boxer who had been knocked down many times in the third round. He was bloodied and could hardly get up off the floor before the referee counted him out. He was about to get knocked down again when he was saved by the bell. He stumbled to his corner, collapsed on his stool. That's when his manager whispered in his ear, "You've got him right where you want him." Well, tonight, you're the boxer and I'm the manager, and I'm here to tell you how we have President Obama, the liberal progressive movement, right where we want them. Now, to understand where we are as a movement and our path forward, we must remember that there is a distinction between the Republican Party and the conservative movement. You know this, but national Republican leaders have not advanced a conservative agenda for almost 20 years. Not since the first years of the Republican Revolution in the 1990s, when welfare reform and a balanced budget were passed, have Republicans in Congress seriously championed conservative ideas. By the time I arrived in 1998, my party was increasing spending and handing out earmarks like candy to help members get reelected. 2 years later, when George W. Bush was elected and Republicans controlled both houses of Congress, spending and earmarks exploded. The federal role in education was vastly expanded with No Child Left Behind. Medicare was expanded to include prescription drugs, and numerous other new federal programs were created. In 2004, when I was elected to the Senate, the spending binge continued. By 2006, Americans had seen enough, and Republicans lost the majority in both houses. This was not a rejection of conservative policies. In 2008, things got even worse as Republicans helped pass bailouts for big banks on Wall Street and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Barack Obama was elected, and Republicans lost more seats in the House and the Senate. But it wasn't long before the far-left policies of President Obama and the rudderless Republicans finally woke Americans from their apathy. Americans from all walks of life, conservatives, libertarians, independents, and even recovering liberals, came together in groups called Tea Parties all across the country. They had a unified, simple message. Stop the spending, borrowing, bailouts, and government takeovers, and restore constitutional limited government. The majority of Americans agreed with these ideas. This was the opportunity for Republicans to embrace the movement and build that big tent that they've been talking about for years. Instead, the national Republican leadership rejected the Tea Party and, along with the liberal media, participated in vilifying the movement. But many Republican candidates did embrace the Tea Party and the ideas that were uniting America. Many of them defeated establishment Republicans and went on to help the Republicans take the majority in the House and gain seats in the Senate. This was the election that brought us Marco Rubio and Rand Paul and Pat Toomey and Mike Lee and Ron Johnson and many champions in the House. They ran on cutting spending, banning earmarks, and balancing the budget. But even after these remarkable gains, some establishment Republicans blamed the Tea Party for keeping them from winning the majority in the Senate. In 2012, with the presidential election on the line, national Republican leadership rejected the lessons of 2010 and went back to the old way of campaigning. Millions of dollars of negative television advertising, telling Americans all the bad things about President Obama. They didn't even try to inspire America with a bold, positive vision. The Democrats, on the other hand, used the lessons of the Tea Party, built a grassroots network with voter registration in key demographics and states, and used a high-tech get-out-the-vote campaign to destroy Romney and defeat many Republicans. As the leaders of the conservative movement, we need to recognize what worked in 2010 and build on it. First, Republicans didn't lead in 2010, conservatives did. Conservatives from all walks of life made our ideas so persuasive and so pervasive across America that many Republican candidates embraced them and rode our backs to victory. When we take control of our ideas and our message and convince Americans that these ideas will make their lives better, their futures brighter, and their country stronger, the politics will follow. If we do our job, candidates from all political parties will have to embrace our ideas and principles to get elected. Second, we must have a permanent, from the ground up, grassroots organization. That's why Heritage created Heritage Action. They are promoting our ideas and holding Congress accountable by working with coalition groups across America to organize grassroots activities. Third, we must learn how to communicate our ideas to all demographic groups and explain how conservative policies benefit 100% of Americans. School choice is a conservative policy that is specially designed to help low-income minority students escape the shackles of failing public schools. Workplace freedom is a policy designed to increase the freedom of union members to join or not join a union. Entitlement reform is designed to ensure low-income, middle-income Americans have the same freedom in retirement that wealthy Americans enjoy, the chance to control their own health care and income. Fourth, we must tell the stories about real people whose lives have been transformed by conservative policies and contrast them with the stories of the people who are victimized by liberal, progressive policies. People like Joe Kelly, a single father here in Washington. He calls the DC Opportunity Scholarship Program a blessing for his children. By the 5th grade, his son, Rashawn, was 3 years behind in the public school system. Kelly had to get a court order for the school to provide Rashawn with a tutor after finding out that the school had not fulfilled its requirements to update his son's individual education plan. Beyond the academic failures, Kelly says the school was so bad that 8 police officers patrolled it every day, yet kids were still scared of getting jumped. As a result of the scholarship, Rashawn was able to switch to a private school. He caught up to his grade level within 2 years and is today a high school graduate attending the University of the District of Columbia. That's our story. We must do more for other Rashans out there who need our help. The good news for us is that conservatives now control more states than ever before. Bold governors and state legislators are proving that our ideas work. States like Tennessee that have eliminated their income tax and replaced it with a consumption tax have seen their economies boom. States like Indiana that have adopted freedom in the workplace, and states like North Dakota that have opened their energy resources have created new jobs and more opportunities for their citizens. States like Florida that have promoted education freedom have seen more students succeed, especially minorities. And states like Texas that have passed tort reform have seen the best doctors from all over the world move to their state, improving health care and lowering cost for everyone. Our ideas work. We know where Obama's policies end up. Look at Greece and Europe. Look at California and Illinois. And look very closely at Detroit, where big government liberals and union bosses have controlled city government for over 50 years. Detroit is bankrupt, and elected officials have been replaced with a director. Their population has decreased by more than half in the last 50 years. Only 7% of 8th graders read at the grade level. Unemployment for Hispanics and African Americans is near 40%. Gangs and violence are rampant. There are over 400 liquor stores in Detroit, but not one chain supermarket. Detroit is a showcase for the liberal agenda. Like I said, we've got them right where we want them. You know, our ideas make life better for everyone. Their ideas destroy lives and bankrupt cities, states, and nations. If we can't convince people of these facts, we are failing our fellow citizens. Conservatives are committed to serve 100% of Americans, whether they vote for us or not. We will not rest until every American can reach the ladder of opportunity and climb as high as they can dream. That's what we're about. But none of our ideas, our policies, or our communication will make any difference unless we show up. People won't care about what we say until they are convinced that we care about them. We must engage Americans from all walks of life where they live. We must meet with those who are voting for policies that hurt them, listen until we understand why, and learn what words we need to use to connect the right ideas with their hopes and dreams. This is what I plan to do at Heritage. Our plans are bold. It'll take several months before we ramp up to full speed. In the meantime, there are at least 4 important things that we must do right now. First, we cannot give up on repealing Obamacare. Friends, accepting Obamacare is giving up on America. You know, we must cut the funding for Obamacare and support all the governors who reject the expansion of Medicaid and the creation of exchanges. Second, thank you. America's proud heritage of immigration has fueled our nation's strength and diversity. But today we have a broken and politicized system that makes it easy to come here illegally. We have to fix the system, but we cannot design our national immigration policies to accommodate those who broke our laws. Granting citizenship to those who came here illegally violates the basic principles of freedom. It's wrong because it undermines the very reasons immigrants flee other countries and come to America, our rule of law. And we know from history, amnesty and citizenship does not solve the problem. It only encourages more lawbreaking. There were 3 million illegal immigrants in the U.S. in 1986 when they passed the first amnesty. Today, there are an estimated 11 million illegal immigrants. Congress should take a step-by-step approach that streamlines our legal process to encourage those yearning for freedom and opportunity to come here the right way. Third, conservatives must lead with a plan that balances the budget in the next decade. And without raising taxes. My oldest grandson is 6 years old. Is it too much to expect that by the time he gets his driver's license, we will stop borrowing money from his future? Somebody's got grandchildren over there. The next battle over the debt will be in a few weeks when we reach the debt limit again. And we know the Chicken Littles will be squealing and telling us the sky will fall if we don't let the president borrow more money. The debt limit is simply a balanced budget. It prevents us from spending more than we take in. So we have three options. The first, and my preferred option, would be to balance the budget within 10 years. The second option, which the president prefers, is to never balance the budget, ever. Just keep borrowing and taxing and spending. The third option, which ironically is the easiest, is to balance the budget immediately. In other words, just don't pass the debt ceiling increase. Here's the conservative proposition. Mr. President, we reject your plan to never balance the budget. So we have two options. We can either balance in 10 years without raising taxes, or we can balance immediately. It's your choice. And lastly, we cannot hope to limit government if we do not stand up for the core civil society institutions, beginning with marriage. Marriage is the foundation of America's cultural stability and economic prosperity. And the courts have no business overruling the people's democratic decisions in states. You know, people can love whom they want. They can live the way they choose. But no one is entitled to redefine a foundational institution of civil society that has existed for centuries. In 2 weeks, the Supreme Court will hear arguments against the right of states to protect marriage and the Federal Defense of Marriage Act. Judicial activism is the reason the courts are even considering this case. The Supreme Court should uphold these laws. It must recognize that the American people should make these decisions, not unelected judges. We're told that social issues divide Americans and that we should stop talking about them. We cannot. Economic and social conservatism go hand in hand. They're natural allies. Strong families, churches, and volunteer institutions build strong character and economic independence. And government must always, our government must always endow we are endowed by our Creator with liberty and the pursuit of happiness, and certainly this right should apply to the unborn. This is something we should continue to talk for as well. When government understands its limited role, it can be smaller, people can be freer, and the economy can create prosperity for everyone. And when government grows larger with programs like Obamacare, that consumes so much of our lives, it tramples on both economic freedom and religious liberty. This has united conservatives of all stripes to fight to end Obamacare, so we can all be free to live our lives in the way we choose. Conservatives can unite America with a platform of federalism that moves dollars and decisions back to the states and the people. Let's encourage the states to compete for the best business environment and the best quality of life. States should have the freedom to determine how best to meet the needs of their students. For health care, Let states use private contracting for Medicaid to deliver better health care for more people at a lower cost. Federalism means letting states have Medicaid waivers to serve those most in need more effectively and more efficiently. More dollars would be available for roads and bridges if states kept more of their own gas tax dollars and made more of their own infrastructure decisions. States can grow their economies if the federal government would get out of the way and let them develop their own energy resources. The less we try to do at the federal level, the more we can unite our country around our ideas. Federal programs are failing, and they're bankrupting our nation. The states are proving that conservative ideas deliver better results for all citizens. Another area where we can, as conservatives, unite America is in foreign policy and defense. Americans want a strong defense, but they're tired of endless wars. The conservative platform for defense and foreign relations can be summarized with two words: strength and focus. The White House, by contrast, has created confusion around the world by not leading and threatening our security by gutting our defense. If we want a strong defense and a strong foreign policy that serves the interest of the American people, we must act with clarity and judgment. We must defend our homeland, protect American interests, and limit foreign entanglements. The world expects us to lead, but we must do it with strength and focus. I've talked a lot tonight about what conservatives need to do to take control of our ideas, our message, and how we need to connect with the American people. We can't wait for Republicans to advance the conservative cause. It is our job to make our ideas so winsome to the American people that they become irresistible to politicians. The voices of the new and bold conservatives in the House and Senate will certainly help, but it is our responsibility as conservative leaders to build support for our ideas among the voters. Milton Friedman explained it this way. He said, "I do not believe that the solution to our problem is simply to elect the right people. The important thing is to establish a political climate of opinion which makes it politically profitable for the wrong people to do the right thing." Unless it is politically profitable for the wrong people to do the right thing, the right people will not do the right thing either. Or if they try, they will shortly be out of office, end quote. That's my main point tonight. It's why I left the Senate to lead the Heritage Foundation and to help lead the conservative movement. We must take control of our ideas and our message. We must win the hearts and minds of the American people, all of the American people. We must help Americans see the connection between their hopes and dreams and the public policies that will help them achieve their goals. Then they will vote for the right ideas and the candidates who support them. We can and we will unite America around the principles of freedom. We will develop a simple, inspiring platform based on competitive federalism that unites rather than divides America. That is my hope and dream, and it is my commitment to you. Please pray for our country and all those who defend it, those in uniform, and all those who stand with us tonight for the cause of freedom. Thank you, and God bless you. Thanks, sir. Thank you. Thanks, folks. Keep up. Thank you.
Before we wrap it up this evening, while Senator Jim DeMint's here, I want to say thank you for leaving a stronger backbone in the Senate. Thank you for Marco Rubio. Thank you for Ted Cruz. Thank you for Rand Paul. Thank you for leaving the Senate with a strong backbone. Can I get an amen? Woo! Love it. Thank you so much. I'd like to thank the ACU for having me as their mistress of ceremonies this evening. It's been a lot of fun. And of course, as the Potomac River flows inevitably towards the Atlantic outside our window tonight, so we flow inevitably into our bright and early start time of 8:35 a.m. tomorrow morning. But the highlights tomorrow, including a special surprise guest that you haven't heard of. Let's run through the list real quick. The highlights: Kelly Ayette, Paul Ryan, Wayne LaPierre, Bobby Jindal, and Governor Nikki Haley will be joining us tomorrow. God bless you all. Keep the faith. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Have a wonderful night. Thank you.
Congressman John M. Ashbrook represented Ohio's 17th Congressional District for 22 years. He was uncompromising and outspoken, a forceful advocate for a limited constitutional government and reduced federal spending. He was a master of the written and spoken word. John Ashbrook was a courageous man of principle who became a leader of the conservative movement until his untimely death. A natural-born politician, John Ashbrook began his career in politics in 1956, serving 2 terms in the Ohio General Assembly before going to Congress. An ardent conservative and one of the most articulate anti-communists in Congress, Ashbrook spent his time in Washington opposing the expansion of New Deal and Great Society programs. He contributed energetically to the national conservative movement as one of the founders of the Draft Barry Goldwater movement in 1963 and as one of the founders of the American Conservative Union, serving as chairman from 1966 to 1971. In December 1971, Ashbrook publicly broke with the Nixon administration, criticizing the presentation of liberal policies and the verbal trappings of conservatism. He announced his intention to oppose Nixon's renomination in a number of Republican primaries. Adopting the motto, "No left turns," he denounced the Nixon administration for squandering an opportunity to build a conservative coalition to govern the country. Although Nixon went on to win re-election, Ashbrook's conservative challenge to an incumbent Republican president paved the way for Ronald Reagan's challenge to Gerald Ford's nomination in 1976. Reagan's successful nomination and election in 1980 was the beneficiary of a new conservative majority that Ashbrook had helped create. In 1982, Ashbrook announced that he would seek the Republican nomination to oppose the incumbent Democratic Senator Howard Metzenbaum, and most political observers thought that he would win the GOP nomination. Sadly, while campaigning, he collapsed and died a month later. The John M. Ashbrook Center for Public Affairs, located on the Ashland University campus, was established and named in honor of the late congressman. President Ronald Reagan personally dedicated the center in 1983. Today, 25 years later, the Ashbrook Center has taken a national lead in providing civic education programs that emphasize the study of America's founding principles and limited constitutional government. The Ashbrook Center hosts events and lectures, encouraging citizens to develop a deeper understanding of the principles upon which our great nation was founded. The center offers educational programs for students, teachers, and citizens. A select group of over 100 undergraduate students participate in the Ashbrook Scholar Program, a rigorous and top-rated academic program for serious, public-spirited students with a passion for civic leadership. History and social studies teachers from all 50 states study in the Ashbrook Center's Master of American History and Government program, the only program of its kind in the nation. This graduate program was created to address the lack of proper history and civic education in our schools, and it focuses on the use of original historical documents in the classroom. The Ashbrook Center is poised to continue to grow in ways that will reshape the way history and civics are taught nationwide, renewing America's purpose and promise.